Well, hello everybody, how are you doing this fine day? I hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, and not just any survival challenge, but a Helldivers survival challenge. You guys fucking love these things. You just lap it up like a filthy whore. Go ahead, lap it up, whores. But a couple of caveats before we begin. One, as always, if you don't know anything about Helldivers, you gotta go to the previous video I made about the Helldivers shit, so you can understand what the challenge even fucking is. There's a link on the video somewhere right now that is telling you exactly where you need to go in order to do that. Otherwise, just gonna watch this video confused as fuck, not knowing anything about Helldivers. And I mean, why would you even do that? Second caveat, in case you haven't noticed, this video doesn't have much of a theme. Normally I have a theme like, will these horror characters survive? Or would these action heroes survive? Or last time in a Helldivers video, would these alien invaders survive? I don't really have a theme here. It's basically just like, would a bunch of random bullshit survive Helldivers? Like if YouTube let me title this video whatever I wanted to title it, it would be, would Helldivers survive a bunch of random bullshit? But because they're a bunch of fucking Nazis, I can't do that. So it's probably gonna have some kind of fucking lame title. Point is, because there's no real theme, not all of these situations are gonna go down a similar route. So unlike my usual videos where I order these in order of like who would do the worst to who would do the best and save the best for last, these aren't really ordered at all because they're wildly different situations. So if I start talking about a survivor at the beginning of the video and you see them and you're like, whoa, hold up, they should be doing way better, just know that's not really relevant in this video. They're kind of all mixed up in there. Who will do the best is a total fucking surprise, even to me. So if you enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. But I've wasted enough of your time. Let's get started. First up on the chopping block, we have the Geth from the Mass Effect series. Long time ago, there was an alien race known as the Quarians. And the Quarians were like, hey, let's build a whole other race of beings that are just machines to do all of our shit for us so we don't have to do anything. Because, you know, that's always such a great idea and that works out for everybody. But they went ahead and did it anyway because I guess they don't fucking have Terminator on their planet. And they succeed, and years and years and years go by and they have these robots doing all their shit for them. And eventually one day, one of the robots are like, hey, I think that I might be feeling love and like caring about people and feeling emotions and shit. And the Quarians slapped their fucking hand away and was like, ah, you cut that shit out. No, but like this is a good thing. Like we're starting to feel more human like you, and we can have equality and live in harmony. Burn them all. Fucking kill the whole lot of them. Destroy them. Fuck them. Our fucking toasters are starting to feel love. And then they do that and this starts a war. And in this war, the machine race wins fucking handily, because of course they do. They're made out of metal and the Quarians are made out of basically styrofoam. I mean, seriously, they get a fucking germ on them and they get goddamn cancer. Of course they fucking lost. And now I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds and I'm gonna let some people go down and do their little comment thing, because a lot of people are gonna start bitching down below that in reality the Quarians didn't actually have a shitty immune system until after the war, and the Geth didn't actually get emotions. And I'm just gonna let them go down there and comment that, ignoring the fact that this was a fucking joke that I just told. And now after they put that comment, they're gonna come back to the video, start watching this section, and feel fucking stupid. Well, you know what? That's what you get. Stop being a fucking smartass. After the defeat of the Quarians, this machine race just basically took over the whole planet and just became like their own race. And this race eventually went by the name of the Geth. Many generations later, the Geth is a completely unrecognizable being. The whole questioning their existence isn't really a thing anymore. But instead, because biological creatures have basically never been good to them, they sort of get this obsessive need to have to wipe out all biological creatures. And then they start worshiping these ancient machines known as the Reapers as like their gods, basically. And they go on a cross-galactic escapade with the sole purpose of wiping out all biological life. And the question we are asking today is, what would happen if you took the Geth and you chucked them on in with the Helldivers to see like how would that work out? And as usual on my channel, it depends on what they do. The Geth have both a lot of really good things about them that'll really help them against the Helldivers, but they have some seriously fucking devastating weaknesses that are really gonna hurt them here. But that doesn't necessarily mean they won't do well. So let me go over the weaknesses first. One massive weakness that exists within the Mass Effect universe is the fact that the technology just isn't really all that advanced. And we have a lot of pretty decent examples of this. For instance, in order for a ship to travel from one cluster to another cluster, within the Mass Effect universe, they have to use something called a mass relay. While every single ship has an FTL drive and can travel at FTL speeds, that speed is limited by the durability of the ship. So if the ship goes too much over light speed, the sheer force of traveling that fast will completely destroy the ship. The only way they're capable of traveling at speeds that allow them to go from one cluster to another in one person's lifetime is if they use something called a mass relay, which reduces the mass of their ship to basically zero. And if you know the formula E equals mc squared, if m is basically zero, you can then raise the numbers of everything else in that formula, and it allows you to travel faster without completely ripping your fucking ship apart. This is going to be a serious problem for the Geth in the Helldivers universe, because unlike the Geth, the Helldivers don't actually need these. Their basic ships can travel anywhere they want in the galaxy in literally seconds. There isn't even a fucking loading screen when you do it. You set your destination from one side of the galaxy to the other, and then you can literally just look out the window as the ship travels from one point to another in, again, like 2 or 3 seconds. There are no mass relays within the Helldivers universe. So if the Geth show up there, they're not going to be able to travel at those speeds, and it's going to take them fucking forever to get anywhere. This is going to make it nearly impossible for them to properly strategize or just maneuver anywhere. I mean, if the Helldivers are on a planet and the Geth decide to travel from one planet to another in order to take over that planet, the Helldivers can see that ship coming, and to them it'll look like it's going in basically slow fucking motion. It's like, oh, that shit's not gonna be here for months. We'll be fine. Like, we can prepare for them. We can even intercept them on their way here and blow them out of the fucking sky. In the Mass Effect universe, even traveling your ship within the same cluster takes a decent amount of time. It's not weeks or months or anything, but it's a while. It's not seconds like it is in Helldivers. Now, this is just one example, but there are tons and tons of examples throughout the Mass Effect universe that their technology just isn't up to the same level. I mean, the Geth worships the Reapers as machine gods. And in the first Mass Effect game, it takes the entirety of the Citadel, an entire fleet of ships, to take on one Reaper. Reapers throughout the story of Mass Effect aren't that powerful. They're not planet destroyers. They can't blow up cities or mountains. Like, they really don't do a whole lot. Like in Mass Effect 3, they show like 30 of these bitches invading a single city. And yes, these Reapers do go ham on this city, and they start blowing up buildings and killing people, but they invade the Earth at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, and then you go through the entire events of the game, and then at the end of the game, they're still trying to invade and take over one fucking planet. The level of power that exists within the Mass Effect universe just isn't really that impressive. Like, literal godlike beings in that universe are just like super advanced ships. By comparison to the Helldivers universe, one destroyer ship is stated to have enough armaments on board to level a small moon. Just to give you an idea of how much that is, our moon, which I'm assuming is like a medium-sized moon since we're Earth, like, we generally compare everything around our universe to our own planet. So if you're gonna say small moon, I assume it would be a moon that is smaller than our own. Our moon is smaller surface area-wise than the continent of Africa. So I would assume a small moon is even smaller than that. So maybe they have enough armaments on a destroyer ship to maybe level the surface area of Europe, or a smaller continent than Africa. Totally just random fucking guess and measurements out there, but we're gonna just assume that. The Helldivers literally have billions of these fucking ships all over the galaxy. If you travel to any planet in the galaxy, you can see literally hundreds of them just parked over every planet that they're currently at war with, just by looking out the fucking window. If the Helldivers wanted to destroy all biological life on Earth, they would only have to park a couple of ships over it and then just firebomb the entire surface of the planet, killing everything. The Reapers don't do this, so we can only assume it's because they don't have the technology to do it, because their goal is to wipe out biological life. They sent thousands of fucking Reapers, the strongest beings in the entire galaxy, to Earth, and none of them did this. So you'd have to assume they're not capable of doing it. So if we go back over to the Geth, who are considerably weaker than the Reapers, it just makes sense that none of their ships have the firepower to compete with a destroyer ship. And again, I could just continue down the list. Their guns aren't as advanced. Their actual machinery isn't as advanced. Their whole society just isn't as advanced as the Helldivers are. So if the Geth were to try and go up against all biological life in the Helldivers universe, they would fail fucking miserably. The only strength that they have, the one strength that is admittedly a very, very good strength, is their ability to wirelessly hack into all forms of machinery and basically turn it and do whatever it is they want to do with it. Nothing in the Helldivers universe has the ability to do this. This is the one aspect the Geth have that actually would really fuck up the Helldivers. Now, in the Mass Effect universe, when they use these hacking abilities, it only lasts a couple of seconds before it kind of goes away. But that's understandable in a universe where this hacking is very common, that they would have machinery that can fight against it and come back from it. In the Helldivers universe, where this doesn't even exist, there's no reason to believe that they would have this sort of anti-hacking software that would fight back against the hacking. So if the Geth start hacking into all their shit, there really wouldn't be a timer. That shit would just be theirs now. And in theory, they should be able to hack into anything that has a computer. Now, normally I would say that the hacking has to have some sort of wireless connection, but in Mass Effect, it's shown they actually hack into shit that doesn't have wireless connections. Unless we assume that everything in the Mass Effect universe just has a wireless connection just normally. That part's a little up in the air. And if someone has an argument for that, that's fine. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that they can hack into all machinery. And if that is indeed the case, the Helldivers will be in trouble. I mean, imagine a Helldiver sending down a mortar or like a stationary turret to come help him, and then all of a sudden a Geth waves his fucking hand and all of their stationary turrets and shit turn on them and just mow down an entire squad of Helldivers, and there's nothing they can do about it. Basically, it makes a lot of their technology less useful. Geth might even be able to hack into the actual destroyer ships themselves and start using the ships to like turn on other ships and shit. This would very quickly make the Geth super hard to deal with. Now, does that strength overcome all of the many weaknesses that I just talked about? No. The Helldivers would still completely fucking throttle them. So the only way that I see the Geth doing particularly well and actually being able to utilize this strength against the Helldivers is if they decide to team up with the automatons. The automatons, like the Geth, are a machine race. They're not biological, at least not entirely. It's sort of up in the air if they're slightly biological or not. We're not really sure yet. So I can actually see the Geth making some sort of deal with the automatons and basically sharing technology. And if that's the case, you will then start seeing Geth having stronger weapons, ships that can actually travel to similar speeds that the Helldiver ships can, and you'll start seeing the automatons being able to use hacking ability, and basically you just like not quite double the size of the automatons, but you'd add to their numbers considerably, and they would now have this massive upgrade with these hacking abilities that they didn't have before. Will this be enough to overcome the Helldivers? I don't really think so, because I think with you introducing this new technology to the Helldivers universe, there's really no way to not also introduce it to the Helldivers themselves. The Helldivers will eventually get their hands on that technology. They'll be able to use it themselves against others, as start to create defenses for it, much in the same way that the Mass Effect universe did. And if this happens and they successfully reverse engineer this technology to begin using it against the Geth and the automatons, they are now at a way better place to win the war than the Geth and automatons are. Because while the hacking stuff is good against the Helldivers, it's fucking fantastic against the automatons and Geth, because they can actually use it to control the Geth and automatons themselves, whereas the Geth and the automatons can only use it against the Helldivers stuff. And unlike the Helldivers that can massively produce this technology and then just start handing it out to their soldiers, in order for the automatons to get defenses to this hacking shit that they don't have currently, they would actually all have to be rebuilt. Like, you'd actually have to go into every single one of the automatons and upgrade them, which will take significantly longer than just building a little device that can hack into people. So any of the billions of automatons that already exist in the world aren't going to have this defense to hacking, and they will be completely vulnerable to the Helldivers who now have this hacking ability. So will the Geth do well against the Helldivers? If they don't team up with the automatons, no, they're getting fucking slaughtered. If they do, they'll do a little bit better, but only until the Helldivers figure out the technology, and then they're going to dominate both the automatons and the Geth together. And I didn't really touch on the Terminids, but if the Geth want to wipe out all biological life, they would also have to fight the Terminids, and the Terminids don't have any technology at all. So the one thing they're good at is hacking ability. Wouldn't even work on the Terminids. They just have to fight them straight up, and they don't have nearly the firepower that the Helldivers do, so I don't see how they would ever be able to wipe out the Terminids. The Mass Effect universe actually came across a very similar situation where during the Rachni War, where they had to fight against these creatures called the Rachni, and they were like these giant insect creatures, and they were so powerful that they needed the Krogan in every race combined to team up against this one group of bug species that were just multiplying like fucking crazy. And the Terminids are way more powerful than the Rachni. So I don't see how the Geth could possibly overcome the Terminids. It'll be interesting to see what goes down, but at the end of the day, the Geth are gonna fucking die. Next up, we have the Hollow Earth from the Monsterverse. This is movies like Godzilla, Kong, Godzilla X Kong, all this shit. For people who did not take my advice and go watch the previous video video and learn what they need to learn about Helldivers, let me give you some additional information. In the Helldivers universe, they live on a planet known as Super Earth, and they are super fucking patriotic for Super Earth. The thing that people don't really realize, though, is that Super Earth is not a specific planet. There have been times in the past, hundreds of years ago, where Super Earth has actually fallen to alien invasions, and when that happens, basically all of the humans and the Helldivers and shit, they gather all their stuff, they leave the planet, they go to a new planet, colonize a new world, and that new world gets renamed Super Earth. So Super Earth is not actually a place, it's an idea. It's essentially the government. The actual planet and land that they are on doesn't really matter all that much. So in this particular challenge, what would happen if Super Earth fell, they went over, they colonized a new world, everything was awesome for a couple thousand years or whatever, and then eventually they found out the world they colonized is hollow. And there's a bunch of fucking kaiju that live inside the planet who then decide to come up and start a bunch of fuck shit on the surface, just like they did in the MonsterVerse movies. How exactly would something like that go? And this is where I kind of have to bash the writing of MonsterVerse a little bit. Something that's always annoyed me about these movies is that they try to paint the main characters in the MonsterVerse movie, like the human main characters, they try to paint them as like good, like wholly good, they're on the right side of everything, and I don't agree. These people are sociopathic extremists, and worst of all, they're fucking hippies. Like, for instance, in Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire, there's a scene where Rome is attacked by a giant kaiju, and then Godzilla shows up and Godzilla kills that kaiju. Then Godzilla proceeds to just hang around in Rome, like walking around the city, destroying all the structures, stepping on people, killing shit, sleeping in a coliseum, just generally causing all sorts of fucking havoc to the city of Rome. And before you say, how do you know he killed people? The movie actually shows him killing people. Like at one point, just him walking, after the kaiju's gone, there's no one to fight, he's just walking through the city and he kicks over a bridge where there's a bunch of cars crossing and the cars go flying off the bridge, falling to their deaths. Like, we see him killing people just by being there, not actually fighting anybody. When Rome bitches about this to our main characters who are in charge of kind of dealing with all of the kaiju problems, they laugh at their problems. They say that their problems aren't really that big of a deal, and one of the main characters straight up says, like, you're so ingrateful. Godzilla saved your city from the other kaiju that attacked. And well, okay, sure, he did, but he's still daily killing thousands of fucking people in our city. Can you please get this motherfucker out of here? And the movies keep doing shit like this where they keep ignoring all of the super fucked up shit the kaiju do, and the main characters always pick the kaiju side, and there's like no gray area here. There is not a single main character good guy that's like, you know what? Maybe Godzilla's actually kind of a piece of shit, and maybe we shouldn't just wholly side with him and rely on him to protect us, because he does just casually kill a bunch of people. And personally, I think this has something to do with the fact that the director is a massive Godzilla fan and cannot possibly see anything wrong with Godzilla or his behavior, which I do think overall hurts the series. You can also see this pretty blatantly where Godzilla is not capable of losing a fight in the MonsterVerse. Like, as long as that director's in charge, Kong can never stand a chance against Godzilla, which is weird because the movies are called Godzilla X Kong, and Kong literally is incapable of winning. It just kind of defeats the purpose of a film series that's about two characters fighting when only one is capable of winning. Like, what's even the point? Like, what's even the point of a versus battle movie? Imagine if Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman movie was just Superman constantly beating the living shit out of fucking Batman. He didn't stand a chance. He couldn't fight back. Couldn't do anything at all. And that's it. That was the whole movie. The Batman v Superman movie fucking sucked. No doubt about that. And Batman winning the fight made no fucking sense. I agree. But I would argue that the concept of a Batman v Superman movie is fucking stupid to begin with. And if he did just make the movie Superman kicking Batman's ass for 2.5 hours straight, that wouldn't be a good versus battle movie. That would be dumb. So to get back on topic, why does it matter that all these main characters are assholes and just allow Godzilla to do whatever he wants and has absolutely no empathy for any of the people that he murders? Because Super Earth and the Helldivers will absolutely not tolerate this shit. Helldivers aren't fucking hippies. They literally massacre Terminids by the fucking billions so they can take their blood and engineer their blood into being an energy source to run Super Earth. They're totally cool with using whatever they can for their own personal advantage. They are, in every meaning of the word, colonizers. So if they're on Super Earth and they colonize the planet, and then fucking kaiju start popping up and start all kinds of bullshit, the Helldivers will absolutely fight back and kill as many fucking kaiju as humanly possible. And if Godzilla or Kong shows up and try to be like the hero kaiju that fight against all the bad kaiju and bring balance to the world, the Helldivers aren't going to give a fuck. In fact, I would argue that even if the kaiju stayed in Hollow Earth and never came up to the surface, and the Helldivers found out that Hollow Earth is a thing, they would still travel to the center of the Earth to wipe out all the kaijus to take over and colonize Hollow Earth. So the only real question here is, would they actually be able to do this? Yeah, they'd be able to do it pretty easily. Godzilla cannot be stopped in the MonsterVerse movie. That's clear as day. But the absolute strongest thing that exists in the MonsterVerse is a nuke, and nuclear energy makes Godzilla more powerful. Literally everything else that we've seen in that universe is not nuclear and is way, way weaker and not really capable of doing anything. The Helldivers have all sorts of massive weaponry. They've destroyed planets before, and they've done it without using any nuclear weapons. They do also have nukes, but it's not their only option. So if Godzilla came to the surface of the Earth and started doing a bunch of shit, and they wanted to get rid of them, they could just park a couple of destroyers in the lower atmosphere and just fucking pepper him with explosives. You know, just fucking season him up real nice. I'm not saying he's gonna go down in one shot. I'm not saying that it's not gonna take a bit, but eventually he'll fucking go down. He's not immune to attacks. As long as they stay away from using nuclear energy, and in fact, they could actually starve him of nuclear energy if they purposely go out of their way to not have him come near it, he'll just eventually die. He has no choice but to escape back into the Hollow Earth, but they could fucking follow him. And the Helldivers can literally do the same for every single kaiju that exists in all of Hollow Earth. Now, to make fun of scalars for a second, there is this one calculation that exists where basically Godzilla stands on the surface of Earth and then he shoots his fucking atomic breath into the ground and he digs a hole all the way down into the Hollow Earth. People have calculated this at insane levels, like continents and all this different crazy stuff. But I completely reject that calculation because it's based on the idea that he shot his fucking atomic breath all the way to the center of our real world Earth. This isn't our real world Earth. This is a version of Earth that's hollow on the inside. It's called Hollow Earth. The beam doesn't have to travel that far down. And as far as the distance between the surface and Hollow Earth, we don't know what that distance is. In the MonsterVerse, ships fly from the surface of the Earth to the Hollow Earth in a couple of minutes. It's clearly not that deep. So calculating Godzilla as if he's firing his beam through our real world dense Earth and in this fake ass bullshit Hollow Earth that only has like thin crust at the top is not equivalent. Like it's not that impressive. Now, I'm not saying that Godzilla's atomic breath won't be able to destroy destroyer ships. It will. I don't think it's going to be able to do very well when the destroyer ships are in the lower atmosphere and so far away that Godzilla is going to super struggle to even hit them with anything. But if he does fire upon them, it's going to do damage. I just don't think it's going to matter. I mean, you're talking about them being able to park literally hundreds of ships above him and just completely lay waste to the whole area. And here's the thing about Super Earth and Helldivers. They don't give a shit about collateral damage. If he wants to chill up in Rome or some sort of Rome equivalent, since I don't think Hollow Earth even has a Rome anymore, they have no issues with just wiping the whole city off the face of the fucking Earth to kill Godzilla. And if they can kill Godzilla, that means they can kill basically everybody else. Now, do I think they will kill everybody else? No, I actually think they'll probably go down to Hollow Earth and start enslaving kaiju and then sending kaiju to other planets to fight on their behalf. I think that's probably most likely what's going to happen. But yeah, any kaiju that tries to fight back against them or has the will to fight back against them, they're going to be completely wiped out by the ridiculous arsenal that the Helldivers have, and the lower ones are the ones that have less will. They'll just enslave and then force to fight on their behalf. And it will all be for the good of democracy. You know, it just feels so good to disperse freedom. And that is absolutely the ironic shit that Helldivers would do. Talk about spreading freedom and democracy to a bunch of alien worlds using enslaved kaiju. Tell me that that is not right up the alley of the fucking Helldivers humor style. Next up, we have the Green Flu from the Left 4 Dead franchise. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to give you a backstory for this one. I mean, it's a flu. It's a fucking flu. How do I give you the backstory of a flu? Especially considering that Left 4 Dead actually does something that I really like when it comes to zombie stories. They don't really give you any information about it. It always annoys me when zombie stories way over-explain how it started. Like, it's rabies or mad cow disease that just evolved and jumped to humans or some bullshit like that. One good thing about the Green Flu in Left 4 Dead is that we don't actually know where it comes from or like what it is, but more specifically, it kind of works like Joker's backstory, where everybody has a different idea of where it came from, but nobody knows for sure. So like, some people will say it's an evolved form of rabies. Some people will say it's like a chemical weapon that got out. Some people in the story actually say it's a punishment from God that he has sent upon the human race for all of their sins. I like that. I think it makes sense. The nature of zombie stories sort of make it make sense, because when a zombie outbreak starts and you're just some dude or chick chilling in your house and all of a sudden everyone around you starts attacking, trying to kill you, it makes sense that you would have no idea why it's happening. These sort of infections usually start and spread stupidly fast. So the idea that the government can't quite come together and figure this shit out makes a whole lot of sense, especially considering that a lot of people to this day debate where the fuck COVID came from. Like, just the fact that there's not a consensus on that makes me believe there absolutely would not be a consensus when it comes to a fucking zombie apocalypse. But the downside of this, as far as this video is concerned, is that if I don't know where it came from or what it is, it's kind of hard to talk about how you can solve it. You know what I mean? Like, can I make the assumption that the Helldivers can cure this disease at some point if I don't know exactly if it's even a fucking disease? But honestly, now that I think about it, it really doesn't matter, because the Helldivers have never had to cure a fucking zombie apocalypse before, so there's no reason to expect they might be able to figure that shit out, regardless of how advanced their technology is. Like, we don't know if there's no diseases on fucking Super Earth. Like, do they still have the flu? Have they cured that from existence? So regardless of the nature of the green flu, we're just going to assume that the Helldivers can't cure it. Despite everything that I just said, there are some things that we know about the green flu. We know that it evolves at a very, very fast rate and creates several different strains that all work in different ways, which is what made it so hard for Earth in the Left 4 Dead universe to actually cure it. In some areas on the planet, the green flu is spread through bites. In others, it's spread through air. Some strains turn you into a regular fucking zombie that runs at people, and some of them turn you into a hunter or a tank. The different strains actually make you different types of zombies. We also know that the green flu is very heavily sex-based. For example, I already touched on two different types of zombies that exist within the world of Left 4 Dead, the tanks and the hunters. In the game, only men can turn into a tank or a hunter variant of zombies. Women don't turn into those. However, a woman is the only one that can turn into a siren. We also know, or at least it's very heavily implied throughout the game, that an immunity to the virus is passed down through the father. And due to all kind of genetic science bullshit, this basically means that men are far more likely to be immune to the virus than women are. I've seen a couple different variations of what the believed ratio is, but it seems like a common one is that 22% of all people who are immune to the infection are women. Which I gotta say, that fucking sucks. You're telling me that if I'm immune to this bitch, it's just a fucking sausage fest? Like, forever? I gotta compete with like 4 or 5 other survivalist badasses every time I want to talk up some hot Filipino chick? Man, fuck that. So the question then becomes, how will the Helldivers be able to deal with the green flu if the green flu just started spreading? And honestly, for the most part, I don't really think it matters too much what the infection is. Any infection that happens on Super Earth is basically going to be dealt with in the same way. Whether that be the green flu, or, you know, the Thing from the Thing movie, or literally anything else other than, I don't know, maybe like the flood, I guess, would kind of change things. But basically, the Helldivers should be able to get through it relatively easily. I'm not saying they're immune to the virus or anything. If it starts infecting them and spreading like crazy, that'll happen for a little bit. But as I've said before, the Helldivers are totally cool with killing their own people. If they have to quarantine off a city and then just blow it into non-existence, they will do that. I really don't think the zombie virus is going to go all that far. Now, worst case scenario, they straight up can't cure it, and it's like the airborne version of the virus, and it's just spreading and spreading and spreading, and they nuke multiple cities, and it's still spreading and spreading and spreading, and they just can't deal with it. They just take all the people who aren't infected, get on their destroyer ships, leave the planet, nuke it from fucking orbit, and go colonize a new world and make that new world Super Earth. Easy peasy. And like I said, I think literally any kind of zombie apocalypse or infection type issue that they run into is going to come to this conclusion. The truth is that this is kind of a shitty pick, because zombies don't really work in a universe where you have space traveling colonizers that can just planet jump anytime they have any issues on a specific world. Nothing's forcing these motherfuckers from actually staying there. And again, that's if they can't deal with it on Earth. It's also very possible that they could just take a bunch of Helldivers, give them gas masks and shit, drop them to the Earth, and they could just firebomb and start going ham with flamethrowers on everybody who they even think might be infected. They could actually probably deal with the virus even if it is airborne without actually leaving the planet. Will they even really want to deal with that shit? Wouldn't it just be easier to take all your shit and move to another planet? Probably. If that shit's airborne, why even fucking deal with it? But what I can guarantee will absolutely happen is if that is a chemical agent or that is some sort of biological weapon, there is not a chance in hell that the Helldivers will not weaponize that shit against their enemies. Can you imagine them dropping this shit right on top of the fucking Terminids and watching the Terminids have to deal with their own zombie apocalypse, trying to fight against their own zombie Terminids? I don't really know if that would necessarily help them in the long run, because you'd still have to like deal with the zombie versions of the Tyranids. The only benefit I can see from doing that is that if you're turning all of the Terminids into like a zombie and they're undead and they can't mate and have children, like little zombie Terminid children. In Left 4 Dead, zombies aren't fucking and making little zombie kids. So I don't see why the Terminids would. So you can essentially just spread the virus on all the Terminid worlds for the sole purpose of stopping them from breeding. And I think that that would probably work. You'd still have to fight all the currently living Terminids. Like, you'd still have to go down the planet and fight them, and they would now be zombies. But they wouldn't breed as fast as they do, which is like the biggest challenge the Helldivers always have to overcome when they actually fight these motherfuckers. So how would the Helldivers do against the green flu or literally any other zombie apocalypse ever? They do fine. Just bomb the fucking world, and if it doesn't work, just move somewhere else. Problem solved. Last up, but certainly not least, we have the Kryptonians from the Man of Steel film. So if you haven't seen the film, a long time ago, there was a planet called Krypton, and on the last day that the planet was about to be destroyed, they were also having a coup against the planet-wide government. I don't think you can get more unlucky as a planet, really. So the coup was led by this guy named General Zod, this fine-ass Kryptonian bitch, and then some other fucking goober. And after the coup failed, instead of the Kryptonian government just saying, the world's about to end, so just stay here and we'll all just die together, it doesn't really matter. None of this matters. This whole government structure doesn't matter anymore because the world's gonna blow up in like 10 minutes. But no, instead they decided to put him in some kind of weird dick-shaped space prison and then just launched him up there away from the planet where he was safe from that planetary destruction. This seems backwards to me. Like, why didn't they get innocent people to go into the dick spaceships, then launch them up into the air and let all the criminals stay on the planet and blow up? Like, that should have been the punishment. You literally saved their lives for forming a coup against you. Anyway, years and years go by, and Zod escapes his strange dick prison, and he makes his way over to Earth. There was a little baby that was sent there from Krypton, also before the planet was destroyed, and he had this thing called Codex in his blood that was like the DNA of all their people, and using that Codex, Zod can rebuild his species, but he could build it the way he wanted to. And he goes to Earth to get that Codex, and then also completely terraform Earth to make it so that he can rebuild the Krypton homeworld, but on Earth. So what this challenge is going to do is basically the exact same thing. Krypton fell, he wants to go get this Codex and terraform planet and all that, so he makes his way to Earth. Only difference is, he got lost on the way and arrived at the wrong Earth. The Earth he arrives to in this challenge is going to be Super Earth, and he's going to show up just like he did in the movie and be like, look bitches, give me the fucking kid with the Codex or I'm going to destroy your whole fucking planet and kill lots and lots of people. The problem being that that baby that was sent to Earth, i.e. Superman, isn't on this version of Earth. So you're just wrong, basically. So how would the situation evolve from there? Well, for one, how Super Earth responds to aliens threatening to destroy their planet is very different than how Earth and Man of Steel responded. Earth and Man of Steel really didn't want to start that many problems. They genuinely were going to give this person up so that the aliens would leave. They wanted to negotiate. They were terrified for the existence of their entire planet. They had never seen aliens before. It was a whole new situation for them. This will also be a whole new situation for Helldivers, but in a far different way. If aliens pull up to Super Earth and threaten them and are like, give us this thing or we'll destroy you, they're going to be confused as to why the motherfuckers haven't started destroying already. Like, this is going to be the first alien species they've ever come into contact with that is at least on the surface open to talking. The problem is, the Helldivers aren't really open to talking. The Helldivers are way more aggressive than the Kryptonians are. Are you kidding me? They are going to unleash hell upon these Kryptonians like you ain't ever seen before. The Kryptonians are going to be completely flabbergasted as to the suicidal nature that these Helldivers have. The Kryptonians will not be able to threaten or control them in any way. This will instantly cause a fight between the Kryptonians and Helldivers. So to get to the question, who wins? Now at first you might actually think it's a wash in favor of the Kryptonians because they're Kryptonians. They're very durable. They're extremely fast. They can basically wreak havoc to whole cities and whole countries. No weapon on Earth was really even able to do all that much to them. I mean, Superman was hit by a nuke at one point, and he was not doing well, but he came back from it relatively quickly. But here's some issues I have with that argument. At this point, Superman was considerably more powerful than Zod and the other Kryptonians were. Like, we see what kills the Kryptonians in Man of Steel. The fine-ass Kryptonian bitch dies because they fly a ship with a bomb on it into another ship and the explosion kills her. It's a big explosion, but it ain't a nuke big. It's really not all that impressive. And the Goober Kryptonian's death is basically just as unimpressive. So they're actually not all that durable, at least not as durable as you would expect a Kryptonian to be. But also, that nuke that hit Superman that nearly killed him was a regular bullshit human, like, real world nuke. It wasn't a particularly large nuke. It was just like a tiny nuke. The Helldivers weaponry is so much more advanced than our modern world. There is not a doubt in my mind that Helldivers' arsenal will be able to kill a Kryptonian if they can actually hit them with any. And that's really going to be the main problem. The Kryptonians are stupidly fucking fast. They can fly around the world in a very short amount of time. They move so fast nobody can see them move. It looks like they're fucking teleporting. The problem here wouldn't be that the Helldivers aren't capable of killing the Kryptonians. They are. They're just not going to have an easy time actually hitting them with that arsenal. But that doesn't mean the Kryptonians win. What the Kryptonians want is to terraform the planet so that future Kryptonians that they create will be able to live there comfortably. This terraforming occurs by bringing in these massive fucking ships. I think there's 3 of them that they place on different points on the planet that then start altering the atmosphere and the gravity and all that kind of stuff of Earth. In Man of Steel, Earth had a really hard time fighting against these ships. They needed Superman to take out one, and they needed a bunch of military guys in this whole sort of strategic movement using ships and bombs and all sorts of other things to destroy these ships. The Helldivers aren't going to have that issue. Like, one destroyer ship can blow up all 3 of them. Blow them up, move to the next one, blow it up, move to the next one, blow them up, and they're not going to have any issues whatsoever. Basically, Zod will not be able to terraform the planet because any of the terraforming ships that he tries to set up will be instantly destroyed by the Helldivers. They're just not going to tolerate that shit. And here's where the writing in Man of Steel isn't actually all that good. Why did Zod need to terraform the planet? Because Zod has clearly shown that he's fine living on Earth without terraforming it. So what was the purpose in trying to terraform it? Was it just like to just kind of make it more like Krypton? Like, why couldn't they live on Earth? Superman lives on Earth. He lives on Earth. They're actually better off on Earth because they have fucking superpowers and shit. So why was he trying to terraform it? The movie's writing makes it seem like this terraforming thing is something that needs to happen in order for him to properly do his plan. And when the terraforming machines get destroyed, Zod is like devastated. But it doesn't seem like he actually needs to terraform them. The movie doesn't explain why this is even a plot point. I feel like it's just so they can give the military something to do and have like a sort of mid-movie action sequence, because otherwise you would just have to kill the Kryptonians and then the movie wouldn't be, an hour and a half, 2 hours long like it was. So what I see happening is the Helldivers blowing up all of the Kryptonian ships, which will absolutely devastate Zod because that means that he can't terraform the planet, and that means even if he does get the Codex, he can't even use the Codex to create his people again because that's on the ship. This will then make Zod lose all hope that he could possibly bring the Kryptonians back, and he'll basically do the exact same thing he did at the end of Man of Steel when he lost all that hope, which is basically just lash out at everyone he possibly can, go berserk, and try to kill a ton of people. And then you'll just have 3 very powerful aliens against an entire planet of literally billions of soldiers with a massive fucking arsenal fighting against them. And while, yes, they're very fast and they'll be able to dodge anything that gets thrown at them, sure, that's only going to go so far. Eventually, with the Helldivers having enough ships, firing enough shit at them over a long enough period of time, with them only having 3 people, eventually they're going to fucking kill them. Like I said, a much stronger version of Superman nearly got killed by a nuke. He only survived because he was just left to chill in front of the sun for a long enough time that it sort of brought him back from the brink. Zod can't even fucking fly for most of this movie. He doesn't learn to do that until the end. The other 2 never learn to fly. They're just gonna be on the surface of the planet somewhere, just throwing a fucking pity party for themselves, massacring humans, while the Helldivers park a bunch of ships up in the lower atmosphere and just start launching down every attack they possibly can. And they're only going to be able to survive for so long until they get hit with enough shit to put them down, or just one really big thing that's enough to put them down. We've already gone over the fact that the Helldivers are perfectly okay with with nuking an entire city. So if one of these motherfuckers was in a city destroying a bunch of people and they're just like, fuck it, nuke the whole city, get rid of this bitch, and they do that, that's gonna do a lot of fucking damage to Zod or any other Kryptonian. And to go even farther, if the Helldivers ever go on the Kryptonian ship to try and like learn what they can from these new aliens that have invaded them, or try to take their technology or do anything like that, they're gonna discover kryptonite. And if they discover kryptonite, then it's fucking over. Kryptonite guns? A kryptonite nuke? Come on, guys. How the fuck is Zod supposed to survive shit like this? The Helldivers win. It's gonna be a pain in the ass at first, but I mean, it's really just a matter of time. The Helldivers have way too many people with too big of guns, and honestly, not enough care about the lives of its people for Zod to actually overtake them. But that's gonna be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. And don't forget, we have a stream every Saturday at 7 p.m. on the Rouga Rabid channel. Remember to show up for that. It's a lot of fun. I'll talk to you. You can jump in the Discord chat with us. I just freely post the Discord chat link. And you can talk with me in voice chat. You can interact. It's great. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?